Yes, good afternoon. Savvy here from Football Heritage TV. It's midweek. Spurs aren't playing, but it doesn't mean we stop talking about Spurs. And also, we look forward to the Liverpool game at the weekend, which should be a belter. But there's no denying whether you're a Spurs fan or not. And as Arsenal fans found out at the weekend, Spurs are a lot better than most people thought. Now, I'll include Spurs fans in that. Spurs are a lot better than we thought. Spurs have come a long way in the space of a summer and 6 Premier League games. We look a completely different team. We look like a team that's been playing together for a couple of years rather than a couple of months under the new manager. So what is that down to? Yes, the manager is exceptional. The manager has got great football philosophy. He's got great football ethos. He's implemented a style that allows all of the players to be creative and to go out there and express themselves. He's got in a goalkeeper who looks solid at the back. He's brought in Van der Ven to partner Romero to look solid in the centre-half positions. Porro has been transformed into a right-back that can now defend and equally looks great going forward. Doggy's been a revelation at left-back, still only 20 years of age. Sonny looks reborn again in that striker position as opposed to the left wide left position. You've got Kulusevski starting to get a little bit better from his form from last year. You've then brought in the likes of Brennan Johnson, Manor Solomon. But for me, and I'm not knocking any of those areas, for me, the driving force behind this Tottenham Hotspur turnaround is the midfield. Our midfield, for me, has gone from one of the weakest in the Premier League to one of the strongest. Is it the best? We'll talk about that in a minute. To one of the strongest in the Premier League in the space of 3 months. How has this happened? Shut up, Savvy. You're being ridiculous. I can hear many people saying, shut up. Well, typical Spurs. Oh, but you haven't won a trophy. Yeah. We all know your comebacks. We all know what they are, rival fans. But let's take a deep dive and really look at this. Last season, yes, it was skewed slightly because Rodrigo Bentancur, who had been our best player through the first half of last season in that central midfield area, was injured and out for 9 months. So from January onwards, Tottenham Hotspur didn't have Bentancur, and we still haven't to this day, probably likely to see him mid-November time. And he is now back training with the Spurs first team, which is great to see. But that left us with a midfield of Ollie Skip and Pierre Højbjerg. Now, at that time, I and many other fans were very underwhelmed by what is this? What is this real pragmatic looking midfield? Had this been created by design by Antonio Conte? Now, the reason I say that is because last season, he had 2 of the 3 midfielders that we're going to talk about in a minute. He had Papa Sarr and Yves Bissouma at his disposal. Now, Bissouma picked up an injury, but even when he wasn't injured, the way in which Bissouma was played for Tottenham was absolutely shocking. In this kind of double pivot, if you will, sitting in front of the back 4 that didn't have license to go forward, didn't have license to drive, to create, to dominate that midfield. They were told, stay put, sit there, do the doggy work. Now, you fast forward 3 months. Yves Bissouma, for me, has been the best midfielder in the Premier League to date in terms of a central midfielder. I like Declan Rice for sure. I think Rodri, I'm going to put just above a little class of his own for what he does. But Bissouma has been absolutely sensational. Hard-working, that tackling back. He loves jumping in for a header. That muscle in midfield, box to box, and that ability to receive the ball deep in his own half, turn past his man and drive forward. Driving with the ball. It's a word that is underrated in midfielders. That drive, that energy. It's all well and good playing it 5 yards, but that driving forward with the ball, which allows other players to move and create positions for him to do so. So Yves Bissouma, for me, grossly misused under the Antonio Conte era. Another reason why I was never a fan of Antonio Conte. Grossly misused, grossly mismanaged. We had one of the best midfielders in the Premier League being underwhelming because of how he was played. Now, if you look next to Yves Bissouma, now bear it in mind, let me just add, Yves Bissouma was £25 million. You got Declan Rice at 105. Moises Caicedo at 120 or whatever 115, whatever he went for. Lavia was at 60. Havertz at 65. I could keep going. This guy was 25 million and looking like every penny the bargain. Then we look at Papa Sarr. Yes, he's raw. Yes, he does have a tendency to give the ball away, but he's learning, he's growing, he's young. What he does do to make up for that, though, his power, his energy, his tackling, his enthusiasm. He is the ultimate box-to-box midfielder. He is tall with gangly legs, gets in the tackle, drives forward. And this boy could be a star. Now, you know me. I never get too carried away. There's a long journey ahead of him. I don't like people that use the word generational or the next best thing. But this guy looks like he's got a good future in the game. Now, we just need him to nurture, to grow. And I think under Postecoglou, he is going to do that. So there's the second part of the three-man midfield. Now, the third part of the midfield, James Maddison. Everything Spurs have missed for years and years and years. Guile, creativity, great first touch, right foot, left foot, corners, free kicks, passing, assisting, goals. This guy has it all. This guy, for me, is so criminally underrated by other fan bases. It is unreal. Criminally underrated by many football fans. I had fans telling me he was one of the reasons Leicester went down. He gave the ball away a lot. He didn't track back. This guy's been sensational. 6 games, 6 goal assists, 4 assists, 2 goals, that is. He's looked absolutely brilliant. And then you've got that clown Southgate, who when he plays him out on the left-hand side. Absolute clown of a manager, Gareth Southgate. But we won't get into that. So the question I'll ask you is, with that balance, with the work rate, the drive, the passing, the creation, the goals, the assists, have Spurs found the perfect balance in that midfield three? Now, of course, people will go, don't forget Bentancur. I'm not, but it's really difficult for me to add Bentancur in there right now because he's not fit to play. That only bodes well for us. So the question I'm asking is, who's got a better midfield three than Spurs? I'm going to leave it up to you. I mean, straight away, I'm going to look at when everyone's fit. Man City with Rodri, De Bruyne, Kovacic. For me, that's a brilliant midfield and is the best when fit. Liverpool have got a good midfield now, with the likes of Szoboszlai, the likes of Alexis McAllister. Then you've got a number of players that are vying for that third position in Curtis Jones, Elliott, Gravenbach, Endo. Chelsea on paper with Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo and Lavia, but we've not seen it yet. They can't seem to get themselves together, and we've not seen that free play. Now, then you look at Man United. I don't think that an Amrabat, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes trio is as good as our trio. I'll be honest. I think it's a bit more rigid. I don't think it's got what we've got. And then after that, Arsenal. When fit, Rice, Partey and Odegaard, good three. When that three is playing, I think that's going to be a very good three as well. Now, Brighton have a good team as well. Aston Villa have got a good midfield. But I'm asking you the question, who has the best midfield three in the Premier League? Let me know. Give me your answers. I'm just putting Spurs in the mix. I'm not going out there and saying we do. I'm putting Spurs in the mix. I know there will be people that don't watch the whole video that turn around and go, oh, you're so deluded, because they don't watch. Anyway, please like, please subscribe, and please don't forget to vote for me for Best New Content Creator at the SCA Awards. Big up. See you all tonight for a live watch-along of really good League Cup games, including Newcastle versus Man City. Take care. See you later. And as always, come on, you Spurs.